Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. I'm back with another Legacy video, and today we are playing Bug Frog. Frog because it has 4 psychic frogs that are leaping to victory with their amazing card drawing ability and their ability to pump and their ability to fly. To support the psychic frog, we have Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. This card just has so much inevitability, so much utility. It pitches to force. It's just a really good card. And Brazen Borrower to disrupt. It can single-handedly destroy tokens effectively by bouncing them out of play. Very good against Merit Lage. Can buy you time. And this is a tempo deck, so it can often just like remove a permanent after you've removed with a Wasteland or Stifle or something. You've removed the way that they could cast that thing again, so you just get it out of play. And then we have Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student, who flips into Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar. The more I play with this card, the more I am impressed with it, and I think you're going to be impressed too. And of course, Orcish Bowmasters. I'm only playing 2. I wish I could play more, but I hate to say it, but like Orcish Bowmasters has almost been power crept out by Tamiyo and Psychic Frog. You could definitely play a third one, and a lot of people who play Bug Frog do play 3 or even 4, but it's just really hard to consistently be able to cast Orcish Bowmasters when you also want to be casting Psychic Frogs and Tamiyos. The other thing I'll tell you about this deck is, of course, it is a blue deck, so it's got the full cantrip suite over here. It has 4 forces. It also plays Dazes and Stifle, which is not like an amazing card by itself, but it does synergize with Wasteland and Daze to potentially block players out of playing the game, or cheesing wins, as they call it, where a lot of times like you just stifle their opening fetch land and they don't have a second land, and you just run away with the game from there. I am playing 4 Wastelands. The mana is basically, in my opinion, as good as a bug deck can get. In that it has 8 fetches that fetch every single one of the lands. And it's got 4 black sources, 4 green sources, and 6 blue sources. So just a wide variety of mana. You're not going to get completely wasted off of a color generally. As long as you're able to keep fetching, you can probably replenish whatever color is being wasted. It is playing a lot of removal, which this is a control deck. You want to be able to remove your opponent's threats. Fatal Push is perhaps stronger than it's ever been right now because it just deals with opposing frogs. It deals with Delver, DRC, tons of things that you don't want to be on the table for a long period of time. One card it does not kill is Troll of Khazad Dûm, but we do have a Dismember as kind of like a 5th removal spell. Witherbloom Command is also here, and it can potentially kill one, a Thalia that's annoying you, and it can kill opposing Bowmasters, and it does so much more. I love this card. I love the art. This is one of the main reasons to put green cards in your deck. A lot of people have eschewed, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, eschewed the color green in their blue-black base decks that are trying to control. And again, this is not Rescaminator. Very different philosophically from Rescam, but a lot of people are building blue-black tempo decks that are also not Rescaminator, but are not playing cards like Uro and Witherbloom. The reason to play green is really these powerful sideboard cards, in my opinion. Ground Seal is just an incredible card right now. It has game against Painter. It has game against lands because they can't Life from the Loam with Ground Seal out. It, of course, stops reanimation strategies. It stops Dredge from being able to use Dread Return. It stops Breakfast from being able to use Dread Return. And it also protects your cards from surgical extraction. So they can't surgical your Uros if you have a Ground Seal in play. And you draw a card. It's just the best anti-rescam card in existence, in my humble opinion. And it's in green. Carpet of Flowers is also an incredible card. It's kind of like almost a Soul Ring against Delver decks. For 1 green mana, you can have colored mana of any color you want for the rest of the game. And it's hard for a lot of decks to remove. Yes, Molten Collapse can remove it, but in general, not a lot of enchantment removal out there right now. Not a lot of decks playing white. White, of course, you can just use Prismatic Ending and answer it on curve, but not very many people are playing Prismatic Ending. So, again, that's why I'm playing green in the deck. The other cards that are worth mentioning from the sideboard, Damping Sphere is just anti-storm card, but it's also anti-Eldrazi, anti-12 post. It may potentially help in like against Karn Forge and other decks. And importantly, Damping Sphere can help you get around Vexing Bauble. Let's say you have Force in your hand and your opponent has a Vexing Bauble in play. If you have Damping Sphere in play, you could cast like a Brainstorm or something at instant speed, and then your second spell is going to actually cost mana. So now you can pitch cast Force of Will and not have it countered by Vexing Bauble. You just have to pay one colorless mana to be able to cast it. So yeah, this is a good card in general, but you only need one because it's not like you wouldn't need a second effect. So same thing with Pernicious Deed. I think you only need one. It's really strong against Death and Taxes. It's really strong against Painter, against any deck that uses Urza's Saga. But you don't really want to draw more than one because it's so mana intensive. Shieldred's Edict is just a good general removal card. Important to note that it can also hit Planeswalkers. So it can remove a flipped Tamiyo, which is often problematic. Like if you get to the point in the game where your opponent's Tamiyo is getting close to ultimating, this can save you from dying, basically. Consign to Memory is here because it is strong against Eldrazi, and Eldrazi is probably this deck's worst matchup. So I'm rocking 3 of them. I went down to 2 Force of Negation just because I've seen fewer degenerate decks that are, like I'm not worried about Storm and decks that like usually win on turn 2 or turn 3, but I am worried about oops all spells and decks that try to win like effectively turn 0 if they can. You need to have turn 0 interaction for those. And then I'm keeping a single Hydroblast, which just comes in handy all the time. So yeah, that's the sideboard. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. Let's get to the matches. I'm going to go ahead and go over to this league, and I don't have enough play points, so I guess I'll use some tickets and we'll jump in. We are back. We are up against Moon Madness. I'm going to go to Google. All right, we're back. We're up against Moon Madness face. I'm not sure how you would call that face. I'm using Microsoft Edge because I am within an emulation of Windows. I'm on a Mac, and I don't want to fire up Chrome. Okay, so Selesnya Depths. This was about a month ago. Likely still on this deck. They do play a lot of depth historically. This is not a good matchup for us. This is, however, a good hand against depths. I'm going to keep it. My reasoning of it being a good hand against depths is that we have removal. We have Tamiyo, which they may not be able to interact with early on. Okay, they're not on depths, it looks like. Well, I am going to play my Delta and pass because next turn I can play Tamiyo with the ability to flip her in case they have removal. So I'm just going to pass. If they fetch, I am going to go get I think I'll get an Underground Sea here. I'm just going to go ahead and stab that. All right, that resolves. They have another fetch. They're going to crack it immediately. Probably going to try to make up for lost time somehow. Okay, Underground Sea. Troll. Okay. So I'm glad to have Dismember in my hand in case they are able to reanimate this later. Right. I think I've got 2 Tamiyo now, so I'm not as worried about her getting killed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Tamiyo here. I'm just going to waste this. And you may think, why I waste it? They just went and got a land. The land they got was also an Underground Sea. So they probably do need both blue and black mana. They might need double black for some reason. Reanimate is A-OK. I have a Dismember precisely for this. I would love to get another Wasteland here. Okay, Tamiyo is not the best. I think we need to go ahead and Dismember first just to make sure that Dismember goes forward. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. There's no point in not attacking. This doesn't give me any information, but just in case they... I'm trying to think of a situation where it would matter, but... Right, and I am going to just go ahead and hurt myself. All right, that worked. Do we want to flip her? I think we do flip her now. And let's see if they can... This in a list of days. No days. Okay, great. So we've got a land. We don't need these Tamiyos. Tamiyo flips. I'm going to plus her. I'm going to pass. I feel like we're in a pretty good position. Now, that said, if they just entomb, reanimate, or something, we'll be screwed. If they attempt to play Animate Dead, we have Witherbloom command, and we can kind of blow that out. We have the ability to recur Dismember if necessary, and I would rather do that than let Troll kill me. So, yeah, we'll see what they do here. All right, they've got double black now. Okay, it looks like a Psychic Frog coming. Oh, Animate did. Okay, that's fine. They are about to be pretty frustrated. So... I think what I do here is I want to play the Wasteland, but I don't want to get dazed. Getting dazed would really suck here. So I'm going to go green, black, Witherbloom. I'm going to mill myself. I'm going to destroy the Animate Dead itself. I'm going to get back a Wasteland. Okay, Animate Dead dies. I'm going to go ahead and plus, and I'm just going to wait. I can fetch a land here at the end of the step. I'm not really worried about anything other than them doing something unfair, like Entomb, Reanimate. And they've already used 2 of their reanimation effects. I think if they had an Entomb, they probably would have used it by now. Not worried about that. Okay, Animate Dead a 3rd time. That is fine. Okay, I have several options here. It makes me kind of want to keep the Misty around. Okay, now I don't need to keep the Misty around. That happens. Okay, I'm going to fetch. I'm going to get a Hedge Maze here. I'd love to dump an Uro. Daze is actually pretty good. All right, so I have Daze myself now. So what I'm going to do, I don't really care about ultimating. I'm much more interested in just winning. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get this Witherbloom command back. And I'm going to add black, I guess. Go ahead and get rid of that. Now I'm going to go green. I'm getting some lag. Are they conceding? They conceded. Yeah, that was just total domination. Again, I feel zero remorse for destroying Rescam players because they know that their deck is completely broken and that, you know, it's going to be banned out of existence soon. So I hope that doesn't sound salty or anything, but like I have a lot of respect for the deck, obviously, with these ground seals and these carpets. But yeah, like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the draw, I take out Dazes. I think I take out a Tamiyo. These Witherblooms, even though they were really powerful there, are not really that good of a card against the deck. I think we could... Is there anything else we want to bring in here? We could probably put A-Days back in. Yeah, I think we do that. Or, no, we've got all this mana. I think having a 4th Tamiyo is fine. Yeah, because the carpet, like, you can dump a whole lot of mana into drawing cards with... Oh, wait, I need to cut a card. I got mixed up. I don't want to go in with 62 cards. I think if we're going to cut a card, it'll be a Stifle. Because I don't think that Mana Denial is how we're going to get them here. In fact, we could probably cut 2 Stifles. Yeah, I want to do that. So we peeled Tempo and we put in these 7 cards. Yeah, so 7 out, 7 in. Yep, let's do it. All right, my opponent has... so unfortunately, this happens. Even though we have 20 lands, unfortunately. It happens a lot more than you would expect. This is a freaking keep. Look at that. Beautiful. The card that's going to go back is probably Stifle. Our goal is to get Ground Seal into play. There is the possibility of stifling Uro, which is really strong, but I want to focus on survival first and foremost. Uro pitches, and it also is a good late game card in case we just keep drawing lands. So yeah, sorry, buddy. Stifle's probably my favorite card right now, even though I said it's kind of weak. It's just so fun to cheese people out of the game with Stifle. Okay. So they probably have Troll Cycle or End Step and Tomb. I'm not going to cast Tamiyo. I'm just going to play my Misty, and that can go and get a Hedge Maze if I don't see a Wasteland. If I do see a Wasteland, I'll just hold it. So if they are not able to immediately return this, then this doesn't matter because I'd rather protect my Ground Seal, so I'm just going to let this resolve. Yep. Arcana Cruelty. That's a pretty brutal card. I mean, if they have interaction, they have it. They have it. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do here. Like, this is why the deck is broken. Like, it just has everything, you know? All right. So, unfortunately, and you could say, oh, you know, like, I don't think countering the Entomb was right there. Can we win this? We could potentially bounce it to hand. I'm gonna play it out. I don't think Tamiyo is gonna do anything here. I think I'm gonna dish Tamiyo. It's just so backbreaking, and they draw a card. Yeah, it sucks. All right, so we're gonna go get Hedge Maze here. There's no point in playing in basics or really doing anything defensive. We're looking for... What are we looking for? We're looking for our... we have... I mean, Brazen Borrower is actually better because we can bounce the Cruelty to hand. If we merely kill it, they can just reanimate it again. That, unfortunately, doesn't do anything here. So I think the play is just go ahead and play this Ground Seal out. That way, if we do kill this Archon somehow, at least they didn't even daze it. That's good. All right, so another Ground Seal. That's going to get discarded to Archon. And we just have to freaking take, what, like 8 damage here? And they're going to draw another card. We're going to discard a card. It's just so, yeah. But their spell resolved. All right. So I am going to discard the Ground Seal here. Drop to 7 life here. I mean, even casting Dismember is going to be incredibly risky, considering they do have lots of other threats in their deck. Yep, that's game. Nothing we can do here. All right. Okay, I saw that he won. They won. Okay, good. So, sideboarding. I'm just going to take all my forces out. I'm going to bring all my dazes in. And I will bring a Stifle back in. The reason we take out forces against a combo deck is they do have, you know, the scam combo where they grief you and then they regrow grief, reanimate grief. So you just don't want to be pitching cards. This hand doesn't have a daze, but it does have removal against their fair plan, and it does have a Ground Seal. I'm going to keep this. Ground Seal is so good against them that if they grief, I might just stifle that. Because a lot of times they'll grief, but they won't actually have an ability to reanimate it. Okay, they are not taking any action here. I think I'm going to go ahead and just try to look for a daze here. They're fetching. If they play Stifle, I'll be very impressed, but I don't think they do. Okay, I'm not sure why they did that. Oh, yeah, I guess just to avoid me stifling them next turn. I'm going to put this on top of my library just in case they do something to, like, maybe they'll force or something to stop ground seal, and then I can just untap ground seal. Green, colorless. I definitely think this is likely to get dazed or forced. If it goes in, we basically win. Okay, so they're floating black, and they're probably going to daze it, and then they're going to cycle grief. Okay, I can't play that. The good news is, well, the bad news is if they have reanimate itself, they can get Atraxa or Archon. Archon is what they chose. The good news is if they merely have animate dead, we may still be able to win. They have reanimate. All right. We tried our best. We tried our very best against this deck. It makes sense to discard Uro since I can bring him back. So generally I do win against this deck, but they can just have turn 2 with disruption, through disruption, and there's just nothing you can do. At this point, we could brainstorm into Brazen Borrower plus Blue Land. I think that's better than trying to ground seal here. Because, I mean, the clock is so fast. They're going to do 9 damage this turn. So this no longer matters, really. I think we're deterministically dead. Not necessarily. So I think we can put back Stifle. I don't think that's going to do anything here. I do want to hold on to 1. I guess we'll just redraw it here in a second. There's no real reason to waste here. They're going to get cards. We're going to discard probably Fatal Push. Next turn, we ponder. The problem with ponder is we have to hit both a blue source. Yeah, there's no way we can actually get... Well, we're going to draw a card, but we could ponder into Brainstorm, but then we wouldn't have Colored Mania. We've lost. Unfortunately, there's just... Deterministically, there's no way for us to survive here. Let's go to the next match. All right, we're back. Round 2 on the draw against Stannis Z. I looked this person up. They only had one previous record on MTG Goldfish, and it was for Scam. So this is like you don't mulligan against Scam. And I think it's fine if they're likely on Scam. So I'm going to keep this. I will hope that they will go fetch pass and that my Stifle might be able to do something here because I do have a Daze and a Wasteland. So I've got the entire tempo trio here. And I even have the ability to Witherbloom to rebuy my Wasteland if necessary. Okay, Ponder. So what I'm going to do in this situation is I'm going to play out a fetch, and then I suddenly have access to Stifle and Daze in case they attempt a combo. All right, and they pass without griefing. That is always welcome. I'll pass with mana up and the ability to fetch a Surveil land. My opponent goes Swamp, Frog. Unfortunately, my current hand doesn't have any way of dealing with Frog. What I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to fetch here. I'm not going to get a Surveil land because I want to be able to protect against Daze. And I'm just going to get Underground Sea, and I'm going to float blue, and I'm going to Daze. Again, I don't like doing this with all the removal that I have in my deck, but I don't have removal, and I don't want to find myself in a situation where I can't find removal. Okay, and they don't force the issue. So at this point, I'm thinking it's probably more useful to tech up toward Uro than it is to start wasting them, because they're down to, well, they're at 5 cards. Yeah, I think they could have follow-up Frog, and there's nothing I can do about it, but I don't want to be naked to the combo. So I think I'm going to play this, and then I do have the ability to go get a Hedge Maze. My opponent plays Watery Grave, which indicates that either they are so heavy into blue-black. Yeah, I'm just going to let this resolve. The only reason they would play that is if sometimes like they might have all 4 Underground Seas and they just need a Watery Grave, but I haven't seen anybody do that in a long time. So the more likely explanation is they are playing Death's Shadow. I'm going to go fetch. They could definitely have wastelands here, but I'm not going to get a basic. I'm not a coward. I'll get a hedge maze here. Now they know I'm not Rescam. This card is just not that great in the matchup. I mean, they've already got pressure on the table. I need to find... I mean, you could definitely argue that I should have kept that just because I could have then ensured that my removal lands. But, yeah, I think I start with Ponder. They may daze this. They don't daze. Okay, so we don't need the Delta at all. We don't need the Force, I don't think. I'm going to take the push. Would I completely be opposed to drawing that as opposed to using my fetch to go get an Underground Sea when I already have a fetch in my hand? Because I could keep the fetch untapped. And the fetch can get any kind of land I need. I think I am going to just play this. And I am going to go ahead and attempt to do this now. I wouldn't be surprised if they dazed it. Okay. And I definitely could have waited a turn. But every turn you wait, they're getting an incremental advantage. Uro has historically been very strong against Psychic Frog. I even have the ability to stifle Uro. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do this turn is I'm going to attempt to play Uro and attempt to stifle the trigger. They have not played a Wasteland yet. Let's see if they're smart enough to take the stifle. They may not realize that I can just stifle here. I don't know why they would take Witherbloom Command. They might think that that was a good card. Yeah, but this is like, I'm very happy to beat Thoughtseize right now, especially knowing that I have a Force on top of my deck and they don't know that. So they're much more likely to attempt to Force of Will stifle if I do attempt to cast it. It's also worth noting that I actually have another land on top of my deck. So they did take the stifle, so that's the heads up play. They're very close to being able to play a Death Shadow. Okay, they're brainstorming. Probably trying to find a fetch and just shuffle away dead cards. Now they know a little bit more about the matchup. They may be digging for a Wasteland because Wasteland would be an effective way of keeping me off of casting Uro next turn. I don't think they play any main deck answers to Uro, other than maybe like a Brazen Borrower or two. All right, so I am going to do this. That was a misplay. I shouldn't have played this, but I did it. I should have probably played the fetch. Okay, so we're going to draw another land, which is okay. Play a land. This is unfortunately going to die. I already played my land for turn. I just had to pass. But I do have the ability to get a Surveil land if I want to here. They got another Watery Grave, so they're down to 10. So I definitely suspect that they have Death Shadow, and Death Shadow is going to pretty soon be bigger than my Uro. They're coming in. I'm just going to take it. What am I holding Force of Will for? What is that going to do for me? There's a very legitimate question of whether I should counter if they attempt to Death Shadow, just because Death Shadow has the potential to be so big at this point. It's worth noting that if they do find a Wasteland, they could waste my green source, and even though I can go get green sources, I'm not going to be able to recur. Oh, wow, they're just not finding their Wastelands. That's a huge blessing. Okay, let's see what they do here. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not scared of Nethergoyf, even though it is pretty big. So unfortunately, we drew that, which is not... So I have to use both of these. So I'm going to go get a Bayou and a Trop. And I'm just going to bring them back. Green, green, blue, blue, Uro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like Uro's in. That's great. Again, even if they kill Uro, I can just bring it back. I am going to play this because I want the ramp effect. This is too late in the game. I'd rather find removal. and I'm going to pass. And I'm going to keep my Wasteland up. I'm not going to waste them. There's no point in wasting them at this point, and I want to be able to Force of Will with Daze Protection. Cards I will Force of Will at this point would be, potentially removal for Uro, but most likely if they do have the Death Shadow or if they have a second Frog, I will probably force that. That's fine. I'll take the damage. They're going to draw a card. They've already drawn, I think, 3 or 4 cards with Frog, so it's been really strong. The fact that they were able to daze my Fatal Push. All right. I'm going to untap, draw another Uro. I'm going to go ahead and attack with this Uro. And my thinking is there's a very good chance that they have, they may be borrowing here. They borrow here. I think it's worth forcing just because if I force here, then I get an extra card. I think it's worth it. Yeah, I don't think this Stifle is where we want to be. These I can potentially use to gain life at the very least. Okay, they're casting 2 blue. A Petty Theft is fine. Okay, so unfortunately I don't get a trigger, but I do have the ability to go green, black, blue, Uro. I drew a Brazen Borrower, which I can deploy if they probably want to wait till combat and then just bounce their Frog is what I'm thinking. I'm not worried about life. I'm worried about them drawing cards off Frog. They're going to have Hardcast Force up, but I think it's worth it to wait. Blue, black, bounce. Okay, it looks like they're going to Hardcast Force here. That's fine. Okay, so they're going to be able to draw a card here. All right, we're going to bring back Uro here. I think we can't both bring back Uro and cast Psychic Frog. I think Uro is the priority here. So we'll go green, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like it's going to resolve. Okay. I'm just going to wait. I don't think there's any point in wasting them at this point. Let's see. They do have, even if I waste them, they're going to be able to potentially cast Troll. I'm not that worried about my life. What I'm worried about is them getting a Death Shadow, and then I'll be worried about my life. I'd rather just hold up Troll here. Yeah, I would rather have mana in case I need it later. So my opponent may not even be playing Grief because they're playing Thoughtseize, and I have a great deal of respect for people that are choosing not to play Grief when it's probably correct to play Grief, just because, we all know Grief should be banned right now. That's fine. I mean, it does slow things down, and they get to draw a card and everything, and now they've got these in the background ready to attack me. But I'm going to gain a lot of life this turn, so I think it's okay. It's just a matter of time before they're able to play out a Death Shadow, though. Yeah, Stifle is super dead in this matchup, I think, other than hitting fetches, which I don't think it's worth doing. Yeah, okay. Okay, so they have not wasted me yet. They might waste during upkeep. They didn't. Okay, so if we play our own Frog, we actually can just... I think we can win the Frog off here. So we play a single Frog, and then they'll be scared to attack with their Frogs. They might have removal. I'm going to go ahead and play Uro first. Black, colorless Uro, just in case I draw something good. Oh, wait, I can Stifle Uro into play. That's probably better. So let's go blue, green, colorless, Uro. They are unlikely to have any additional borrowers. Let's see what we draw. I would love to draw a land here. No. I think it's worth pushing here. I think it's worth stifling this trigger. And now what we can do is we can see what they do here. They're almost certainly going to flash in these borrowers. But we can see if they make one or both of their frogs fly before we attempt to push. I think that's better than risking one of our frogs getting killed. They are eventually going to start running low on cards in their graveyard. And if they use Psychic Frog's ability enough, Nether Goyf is going to start to get small. Here they go. So they're going to be able to cast 2 of these over the next turn or two, which is fine. What would be irritating is if they do have another Fatal Push. It's fine. I am going to go ahead and do this now because I don't want this to get dazed. I'll just take out one of their frogs. Do they have Hardcast Force? No. Okay, good. All right. So again, it would have definitely been better if we could have waited until combat after they'd exiled some cards. What's this? Is this a push? Yeah, it's another push. All right. Well, yeah, we're doing our best. This game brought to you by Uro. We would not be in this game at all if it were not for Uro here. They don't have a wasteland. As far as I can tell, they don't have a wasteland. Okay, they're going to maybe find a wasteland, try to waste me off of green. And I actually only have one more green source in my deck. So if they can find another wasteland, okay, that's kind of scary. Am I dead on board? Okay, now I'm definitely dead on board. All right, so bringing back Uro is probably not enough now. Psychic Frog is not enough. So I'm going to go blue, green, green, blue. I'm going to hope to just spike a land here. 1, 2, 3. Is that not 5? One more. The annoying thing is it's so precise. Okay, there we go. I'm worried about time because they're going to win. If they can stop this, well, they can't stop it. But if I don't get a land here, okay, I get a land. Unfortunately, that doesn't really matter. We're up to 14. I think we can survive an attack with this Shadow. No, we can't. We have to block Shadow here. Even if we block Shadow, we're going to take 11, 12, 13, 14. I think we're dead. I'm just going to let them play it out, though, because the more time they spend thinking, the less time we have to worry about. But yeah, I think it's deterministic. Unless they do something, they're not going to make their Goyfs smaller accidentally. Maybe there was a better play with... No, I needed a blocker. I could have potentially played Uro and then chumped with a frog. They should attack with everything here. Oh, they're not attacking with another Goyfs. Okay. So, this doesn't have... Oh, this does have flying. Okay, well, it's easy. I'm just going to block the Shadow. Okay, let's see if they discard a card here. It shouldn't matter. So basically, the only way we're even treading water here is if we can... I'm going to drop. Is if we can Uro into a Fatal Push or something like that. I will go ahead and play this, and I'll go boom, boom, green. Wait, do we have enough to cast Uro and to bring it back? 1, 2, 3. Uro. Yeah, but the problem is we don't have enough lands. So we could wasteland our own land, and then we have enough to bring it back. It seems like a terrible play, but it's the play we have. Now we can bring this back. Blue, green, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, we're hanging in there, kind of. I don't think we can. Can we survive this attack? I think we can survive one more turn. Do we draw a land here? They have 2 cards in hand. Okay. I'm just going to F6 here. There's nothing to be done here. Going to give them time to think about what they want to do. Go through this turn. Yeah, I used a lot of time. I probably should have scooped. So there's no reason here that they shouldn't attack with another Goyfs, I don't think. All right, I'm just going to concede here. I mean, I could do some stuff to get a little more time on clock, but I don't think that's... I mean, they're kind of low. Yeah, maybe I should have done that. Okay, so I'm not worried about Ground Seal here, but I am going to bring in Carpet. And I'm going to bring in Shielder's Edict. And I think I'm going to bring in Deed, because if they're not playing Grief, if they're playing lower to the ground stuff, this is good. Cards that I don't care about, Force of Will is just terrible in this matchup. Like, this is a typical matchup where you want to keep your Force of Wills low. Did they cast any Trolls at all? I don't think they even used Troll. They may be completely, reanimation free. Yeah, I don't see Troll anywhere. So if they're not playing Troll, this Dismember may not actually be any good. Because Dismember is really just for killing Troll, and we could use that life. I like the Dazes. They probably have... Do we want to keep Dismember in? I don't think we do. Because we added 2 removal spells. Yeah, I'm just going to run it like this. So in terms of things that Witherbloom command can kill, they're probably going to bring in Orcish Bowmasters. I can't imagine them not doing that. And Witherbloom does kill Orcish Bowmasters. And it gains less life. And it potentially redraws a Wasteland. And we are keeping all our Wastelands in because we do want to waste them out of the game. We want to restrict their ability to play their higher mana stuff, which doesn't seem to be very much. It seems like every spell they cast was 1 or 2 mana. I don't know. Maybe trying to tempo them is a mistake. But I have committed to that mistake. We're gonna do it for science. Right, I'm on the play. Our clocks are pretty close. I think this is good. I like the double frogs. I like the push. We just need to make sure that we hit a land here. But I am going to go ahead and keep this, and I'm going to ponder into land. That is freaking phenomenal. Okay, so do this so they can't take my Carpet. Even if they wasteland me here, it'll be okay. But I'm going to get the Carpet into play. I don't think they have anything they can do about Carpet. I'm going to play it. It'll be interesting to see whether they do anything about this. Like whether they just don't play islands. They do have swamps in their deck that they can fetch. It's fine. So I'm drawing a non-land here. That's okay. It does take a little extra clock because I have to decline the trigger each turn. I mean, that could actually be a good strategy, is just to keep passing back and forth so make me have to like click through my triggers a bunch. I am going to go ahead and fetch. What am I going to fetch? I think I fetch an island here just because I don't want to like spend a lot of time. I'll go ahead and use this mana. That's pretty good. We can't cast Witherbloom. I actually don't think this is a keep. I want to find more land. The key to this matchup is very much mana because I have so many good cards that I can cast, like Uro, Psychic Frog, stuff like that, if I can have just a little bit of mana. So they may try to cast a frog here. They're not going to. They're going to give me another turn to ponder, which is fine with me. Okay. No. I think I'm going to go ahead and ponder, and I'm just going to try to get enough mana out. Is this good? I think this is better than average. I would like to find land. I am going to get land because, I mean, there's a world where they only play black spells. I think they're going to have to daze this. Or they're going to have to fetch an island if they want to daze this. All right, and I'm just going to pass. And I fully expect them to kill this, but that's okay. I'm all right with it. I've come to terms with Tamiyo not living. Okay, they're shocking themselves. They're going to borrow it. Oh, I don't have a green source, do I? So that's a good play. I didn't think about that. Well, I'm definitely glad I shuffled because now I have a higher likelihood of drawing a green source. if they don't kill her now, don't think I'm totally dead, but I'm pretty dead here. I need to find. So it doesn't do anything, but it is a land in case they have double days. So I think I'm going to start by attacking here. So really my only answer for this is to find a... sorry, I'm like focused on thinking. I actually, these are all islands. I'll use this island here. I'm going to see if I can find my own Brazen Borrower, and I do. So what I'm going to do is I think... let's put this back. This back. I'm not going to risk casting it into days. I will wait a turn. All right, so this flips. They can attack Tamiyo for 1. So my only interaction up currently is Stifle, but next turn I will be able to... I mean, if they have a Force of Will, there's probably nothing I can do. It's fine. So I think this is okay. I can go ahead and do this first. Eat the clue. Okay, this is good. They're not tapping out. But they did show me that I do now know that they have so if they have Thoughtseize here, I'm screwed. Frog. Okay. So I think the play is play this. Borrow this. If this doesn't resolve, I'm going to concede. Okay, it did resolve. Now I'm going to go get Trop. I mean, even though I'm probably going to lose, this is a fun, interesting game. I like these kinds of games. So I'm having a good time, even though I clearly am not playing as fast as I should. Okay, so now we're going to go to post-combat. I'm going to add a lot of blue mana. And we're going to go ahead and go black, frog. We're going to Tamiyo. They might counter the Tamiyo. Pass. That was a very good turn. Now, even if they bring it back, they're going to need a second borrower. Oh, wait, they used both of their borrowers. So they really screwed themselves by using that second borrower. I think that they shouldn't have done that. But they could have more borrowers. I mean, it's not like you can only have 2 borrowers, but most decks only have 2 borrowers. So they attack in here. I think I'm just going to let it happen. And then I can push it next turn. So they're going to get 1 card off of this. It's worth noting that technically, like, even though Carpet is creating tons of mana for me, it's not going to give me a way to kill Harbinger of the Sea, because I need to get something in my graveyard in order to... I can just crack a clue. Yeah. So I can get Revolt that way. Oh, that's fine. And that's interesting. Why the heck not go after my Frog? I think that's a total misplay. Not knowing what's in their hand, but like Frog is so much stronger than Tamiyo, it's not even funny at this point. So they'll probably just recast the Harbinger, which is fine. Yeah. Okay. So I can't actually push the Harbinger here. Oh, that's nice. I think the play is to add black. So add 4 black. 3 black. Okay, and then we're just going to go, I think I'm going to start by pushing this. Then I'm going to play a frog. Then I'm going to play another frog. Then I'm going to attack here. And if they block for some reason, which I don't expect them to, I will happily pitch a card here. Okay, I get a card. It's a second Stifle. Tamiyo. I think I'm going to win this game, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to play the next game. Carpet is a strong Magic the Gathering card. That much is certain. You, sir, are crazy. Okay, and then I'm just going to discard this card. Maybe they're trying to actually get out from under their own Harbinger. I can't think of why they would do that, unless they're just trying to burn time off my clock instead of conceding, which is totally something they could be doing here. That's fine. They did kind of technically 1-for-1 me, but I'm going to just run away with the game next turn with all these frogs. So I'll use it after combat. Attack with all creatures. That is fine. Let's see what they target here. I think that's okay. Are they going to block? I'm going to go ahead and discard here because this is going to grow and I don't want it to survive. Okay. Actually, yeah, maybe, yeah, it wouldn't have grown. That was not necessary. Okay. I am going to, I think I just stifled that. Okay. Yes. I'm going to add black. Play this. I think this game is so one, it's not even funny. I'm going to use 2 black. I think I'm just going to play out my, play out this, and I'll pass. All right, this game's over. But they're not conceding because they know that, and I probably should have, are they conceding? They're going to make me play this out. Thought seizing themselves. Death Shadow. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that really matters here. No. Let's see. I'm just going to attack here. And I'll keep some stuff back. Okay. And I'm going to exile 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I will exile 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to do a bunch of combat damage. Get to draw a card. Draw a card. Okay. Cards that I think, yeah, yes, I will use this ability. Blue. Well, I shouldn't have added blue there. I'm just going to do that, and then I'll go blue. Eat it. They could have Shoulder's Edict. Oh, I don't have blue mana here. I'm just going to go ahead and use these for the clue. And I'm going to pass. Again, the game is won. It's just that, like, I have to attack in. They could have that gate, but I think it comes into play tapped. I don't care. I've got Shoulder's Edict. I've got, what is this? A Brazen Borrower. It's fine. Okay. Block. They don't have black up. I'm just going to start discarding cards here. Deed. Wasteland. Wasteland. That is not quite enough. I'll discard another one. Or discard a Brainstorm. I think that's lethal. Okay. Okay, so here I am. I'm sideboarding. I think Deed is slow. I think Uro is slow. So I think what we do is we take out Uro, bring our forces in, and we hope to win through Frog. I also think this is too slow. So I do think Dismember is worth playing. Witherbloom Command doesn't seem to hit anything in their deck. I still don't think I saw anything that it hits. So maybe we bring in a, I don't know, a single Uro. Actually, Witherbloom Command is probably better than single Uro because Witherbloom Command can drain life in case we get in a situation where that comes up. Let's go. I keep this. Okay, my thinking is turn one, we play land. We can fetch. But we want to get Tamiyo. We want to flipper. That's fine. I don't think I have anything in my hand that I really care that much about. Yeah, they take Tamiyo. All right. I am very glad that Bowmasters is in my hand because Bowmasters is one of the cards that can really be impactful in this matchup. Goodness, they didn't. Right, so I'm gonna go get my Undercity Sewer. Yeah, I'll take that land. I'll just pass. I probably could have gone ahead and kept Maze up. I'm gonna hope that they brainstorm or something here. I think we're gonna just get aggro on them. If they daze, I force, and then I can daze back. Actually, I can't daze back, so it's very good that they didn't have a second way of hurting me. Okay. All right, so we've got daze for the next play. We're just going to start beating them down. Stifle's a good card in case they do get a fetch. We're just going to try to go all the way with these. All right. I'm going to attempt to attack here. That is a daze. I think it's a float blue daze. Wait. Yeah, we have to make a decision. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. We'll do our damage. I'm going to go ahead and use this now. Just to preserve forward momentum. I'm going to get a tropical island here. Actually, no, I'm going to wait. Because I can stifle if they have a fetch. They're taking 3. Ouch. They may have their own, which would be pretty dangerous. So I am going to stifle this trigger. Okay. All right. Here's what I think I'm going to do. Waste this. They no longer have access to daze mana. On myself. Kill that. Return Wasteland. Attack. Good game. Okay, make sure they're not doing some sort of weird thing where they pretend to concede. Okay, good. They conceded. I respect the fact that you could totally be playing Grief, but are instead playing a more respectable deck. All right, that was very tight time-wise. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, we're back for round 3, and you can see that MTGO's having a hard time loading some of the assets, but those should load in. We are up against Cool User, whose name I've certainly seen before. Cool User. It looks like recently they've been on Mystic Forge, and this deck, which is a ramp lands deck. It does play Life from the Loam, so my strategy against Life from the Loam decks is to basically let things resolve that aren't Life from the Loam. This does have Karn, so definitely don't want to aggressively counter exploration and things like that. Let's take a look at our hand. So we've got, it's hard to tell what's in our hand, but we have 2 Ponders, we have a Misty Rainforest, we have a Wasteland, and we have a Brainstorm. I think this cantrip heavy hand is totally fine, especially because we're not sure what they're on, so I'm going to keep this. And you'll note that I did burn a minute and a half from my clock, just waiting for everything to load and stuff. Okay, so that's fine. We don't actually have any counter magic in hand, but they have shown us the Planar Nexus, and I do think that generally you want to waste that out of play. So I'm going to attempt to waste here. You can see the assets loading in by Planar Nexus. All right, we'll pass. Next turn, assuming they don't have any broken play, we'll probably just ponder off of island. Okay, and I'm very glad that I have this island. So I'm going to island, ponder. What am I looking for? Witherbloom Command is 2 turns away. Force of Will is a totally dead card. We have plenty of land. So what we're looking for is not this. There's Witherbloom Command. Okay, so it's probably going to be 2 turns away that I can Witherbloom. Urza's Tower. Okay, now I'm very glad that I removed that other card. So what we're going to have to do, probably play out of fetch, maybe ponder, and then we can pass. Okay, Bowmasters doesn't really do anything against their deck. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. I mean, it does put a clock on. It's two per turn, but it's a super slow clock, but yeah, I mean, they're going to waste us. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to fetch both green and blue and then waste the same turn. Or then Witherbloom Command the same turn. So this Psychic Frog is something we're interested in. However, I wish I hadn't taken... I stacked it wrong there. We're just going to pass. That log is like super wide. I don't know why. They're popping Bobble, which is fine. They're just trying to find action. Probably trying to find a way to recur their planar nexus. Wow, they don't have any. They're passing. Oh, wow. They're screwed. Screwed on mana. This kind of almost makes me okay with fetching here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fetch Undercity Sewer. I actually think this is a defensible card to keep now that they cracked their bauble. So I'm going to put this on top. I think it's okay to go ahead and find a Bayou. It's clear that keeping Planar Nexus out of play is going to be really important. But now that it's not in play, I'm almost kind of tempted to just go ahead and play the Frog, which we can defend. Black, blue. Yeah, so I think I'll do this instead. They may have like Kozilek's Command or something like that, but they're going to need more mana to use it. And then maybe they play out an artifact that I can kill when I Witherbloom next turn. Okay, Planar Nexus, so I definitely need to find that if they try to cast like a One Ring here, they might be able to One Ring and also Wasteland me. So One Ring, Kozilek's Command. This is what the Force is for. I wouldn't be surprised if they just waste me here to try to restrict my options. Okay, they're not wasting me, which is great. Hopefully they don't waste me in upkeep. Can we get to our main phase? Oh, we do. We drew a Stifle. This is amazing. This is amazing. Okay, I'm not gonna mess around. I'm just gonna go ahead and regrow my land now. Black, green, Witherbloom. We are going to mill ourselves, and we are going to drain them for 2. All right. They do not have green mana to my knowledge. They could have a Spirit Guide, and they might be able to... Yeah, but they're not able to do it. So Wasteland is indeed going to come out, and we are going to take out the Nexus. Now we can attack. I think it's unlikely that Fatal Push matters here. I think I'm going to discard it. Just for a little extra damage. I mean, it's only 1 extra damage this turn, but it's 1 damage every turn. See, we draw here. I love having that Stifle. Yeah, so these are cards that I'll probably end up discarding. I don't really need any additional mana. I'm going to Stifle that. I don't want them to be able to access white. Okay. And it looks like we're going to be able to get in another attack with the Frog. Would love to draw Force blue card. I will not complain about drawing that. I think we are going to go ahead and play it out. I'm going to attack here. I do think that it makes sense to go after the tower here just in case they draw a Nexus so they can't get like a sudden burst of mana that they could use to do something. I should have discarded cards there. That was sloppy. I was just focused on getting their permanents out of play. All right, I'm going to pass with Bowmasters up, and they concede. Wasteland was absolutely instrumental, and being able to recur Wasteland was clutch. Okay, so it looks like they are likely on this deck. I didn't see any reason to suspect they've changed decks since they played this to a 5-0 yesterday. Yeah, so they're almost certainly on this exact list. So what do we need to think about here? It looks like they probably are going to bring in maybe a Pithing Needle. I don't think they will. They're definitely going to bring in 3 Plows. Ensnaring Bridge is a possibility. I mean, really, that's the only card that I think they're likely to bring in is Source of Plowshares. The other things they can access off Karn. What cards are they likely to take out? They're probably going to take out... they'll probably keep Vexing Bauble. I'm not sure what they're likely to take out. They only have 1 Reclaimer, which to me is like... Reclaimer is such an insane card. I can't believe that it doesn't make sense to play more than that. Since they are a Loam deck, I am going to bring these in. And Damping Sphere does make sense here because it does stop. Let's see, they're not actually playing anything to generate mana other than the Planar Nexus and Urza's Tower. So maybe it doesn't make sense to bring this in. I would say this card is very mediocre against them. It does do that trick I think Consign to Memory is pretty good here. Cards that are bad. How many fetches are they playing? And how much time do we have? We have 1 minute, 25 seconds. We got plenty of time. So I like Stifle here. It stops a lot of relevant triggers. They only have 2 fetches, and they've got 6 fetches. So I think Stifle still plays here. I think Daze is the card we naturally want to take out on the draw. In terms of permanents, they don't really have that many permanents that we care about. We can't kill most of them. I don't think we bring in Deed. And I do think it's worth bringing these in. Shielder's Edict is a good all-around card. We can take out all of our Fatal Pushes. If they're just playing 1 elf, it's not worth keeping Fatal Push in for that. All right. So we need to make 2 more substitutions, and I think the substitutions can be Dismember, and maybe we pull out one of our forces. Maybe we pull out a Force Negation. Yeah. All right. So it looks like it's submitted, but you can never tell with all the lag. And I'm on like a ridiculously fast connection here. I've got like half a gigabit internet, I think, usually. This hand is quite good. We are going to have to fetch Ponder, but we just have so much action. I like Ground Seal. I like Uro as a path to victory. And I like the Force. So for Ground Seal, how can they blow that up? See, they're not playing any Moxes, are they? Yeah, I've never seen this type of deck. It's kind of like a hybrid lands Cloud Post deck. But it's not Cloud Post. It's just... I think we let that resolve. Because we're going to be able to Ground Seal before they can really get a lot of value out of that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So they're down to 3 cards after mulliganing. And Exploration is almost kind of like a mulligan. If you get Exploration going, but you don't have Loam, you just... What did you even accomplish, right? You're going to be able to play a couple lands out faster, but that's it. So I don't think Exploration is like a big threat against our deck. I like the idea of keeping Ground Seal up just in case they... keeping Consign to Memory up. But do I? I think it's better to Island and Ponder for a land. And I am going to Island here for sure. And we can always get the Bayou, which will give us both of our colors. We don't have to worry about island count in this deck because we're not playing Mystic Sanctuary. This is pretty ridiculous spread. So I think we go... Yeah, so we're going to curve Ground Seal into Psychic Frog. And we'll have Force of Will to potentially defend our Psychic Frog. They are not even playing Dark Depths, are they? Really, they do win through... They don't have Eye of Ugin? How do they win? I guess they just win through Karn. Interesting. Like, this is unlike other decks I've seen like this. So I'm going to get rid of this ad. Since I'm in... Okay. Reputation. I think we force this because this can go get a lot of things. I think Borrower is the least important here. They're not playing Urza Saga even. It is just a very weird deck. Okay. All right. So we've got Psychic Frog. We've got, I believe, another land coming. It's an ETB tap land, but it is a land nonetheless, which I will happily play out next turn. Ground Seal has resolved. We draw our land. Oh, we don't draw a land because we fetched. Remember my choice and always choose Mac. I'm not sure what's going on there. I hope the sound's still working. All right, while they are deciding, I just want to verify. Okay, sound is still working. Great. We're going to go back here. All right. Okay. They didn't have a lot of action there. They can't even cast. I mean, they can cast. Oh, wait. This is their turn. Okay, so they did find a Nexus organically, which is bad news. They could potentially blow up my lands if they have one more land. If they've got the Eldrazi, the Sowing Mica Spawn. I'm just hoping they have an uneventful turn here. If it's one ring, okay, Karn is not the end of the world. It does suck though, because let's see what they get. They're probably going to start blowing up my lands. Liquid metal coating. Okay, yeah. So blowing up lands plan confirmed. Oh my goodness. This is good. So unfortunately, we can't hit them. Oh my goodness. Okay, so options. Brainstorm. Try to find something that can hit Karn. Trying to find a black source that we can play so we can play a Psychic Frog would be an option. The safe option, of course, is to just wasteland their planar nexus, but we're not doing anything if we do that. The other option, we can't get Uro out, unfortunately. I think I like the idea of Brainstorm here. See if we can find a black source. All right, this is amazing. Okay, so cards that I don't really care about this point. I think Uro is not necessary if we have Frog online. And I definitely want to put back this sewer. Now I'm going to fetch out a Underground Sea. And I'm going to hope that they are not able to stop this. And then next turn, I'm going to cast my Wasteland. We're going to see if we can thread this needle. Because they can go get a lot of different things with Karn. One ring would be absolutely devastating here. Liquid metal coating, as expected. So they can blow up some of our cards. That's fine. So now they're going to plus and destroy it. All right, they're fetching. Let's see what they get. Forest. Do they have Sowing Microspawn? As their last card. They do. And they can go get a card. Mace. That is actually okay. May seem weird to say that that's okay, but I'm going to be able to take out Karn this turn, which is the main thing I need to do. It's just that, unfortunately, I'm going to need to waste the Maze Vith. Okay. So first, waste Maze Vith. Second, we're going to exile 3 cards from our graveyard. 1, 2, 3. Third, we're going to attack Karn. Attack Karn. Now we are going to start discarding. Discard a card. I think we discard this. Discard a card. I think we discard everything except Consigned to Memory. All right. Karn is going to die here. We're going to draw a card. And I think we will have stabilized another Psychic Frog, which can probably just be pitched to this Psychic Frog. But I am going to hold it. And now I have Consigned to Memory for 1 ring, for follow-up Karn, for Sowing Microspawn with Kicker. I don't have a way to stop that, unfortunately. That was a very good top deck on their part. And I'm just going to be taking damage and chilling. We have a lot of cards we can rip here. We have another black source that we could rip to cast another frog, but it won't be as good as the first frog, obviously. All right, so I think what we do is we just play out Tamiyo, and we hold up Consigned to Memory. We don't really have any other options here. We just have to hope they draw dead cards instead of insane cards. 5 mana in the pool. All right, easy card to counter. They're probably going to attack for 3, which is totally fine. All right. So I'm going to attack, and then I'll just go ahead and crack my clue immediately to draw a card here and hope that it's a land. A Underground Sea would, or yeah. Oh, Stifle. Yeah, it's not the best here. It might be okay. Well, we're just having to dig through the bad cards to get to the good cards. We have a few very specific cards we're looking for, namely Fetch for Underground Sea. Okay, that is an unfortunate top deck. It is going to be, it's going to double their clock, and it's going to give them the ability to go get lots of different utility lands. We're going to attack with Tamiyo. All right, so here we're definitely taking 6. I do think it's worth it to crack for a clue. I think we're pretty dead. I think there's a low likelihood of us winning, and I don't want to just sit around and take 6 every turn. Okay, we didn't get there. I think we're dead. I do have force, but they're going to be able to Reclaimer for something good. All right. They are choosing violence, which is A-okay with me. I did not want them to go get something powerful. Let's see if we can draw a land. All right. We got there. Okay. So I think what we do here is we go ahead and play out a Psychic Frog. I've got Stifle up in case they try to fetch something. I've got Force of Will up in case try to do something. And if they attack in, I should have attacked with Tamiyo. I'm not going to block with her. That was a misplay. So if they attempt to activate Reclaimer, I probably will go ahead and Stifle, and then I have Psychic Frog and Force. But I need to be cognizant of the fact that like I'm going to have to discard cards to keep Psychic Frog alive in combat if they do attack with something Microspawn. No attack. All right. So I think given the life differential, I'm just going to chill. And this is where, having attacked with Tamiyo would have been good. Right. So I think here training them could work. I'm trying to think of what we get back. I think we get back a Wasteland and take out the tower because that represents 3 mana. Black, green, Witherbloom command. Actually, I don't mind killing the liquid metal coating here. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to attack with just Tamiyo. I'm going to create a token. And if they activate Reclaimer, I can stifle the Reclaimer. But it would be foolish for me to Wasteland into an open Reclaimer. So my hope is that they do something where they're like, oh, I don't need this backup Nexus or something, like not realizing I have Stifle. Let's see what they do here. Okay, they didn't activate Reclaimer at all. Okay, Wasteland. I think it's worth stifling this just because I'm going to be able to Witherbloom command next turn. They are not yet ready to kamikaze their creatures in, which makes sense. All right. Now what I'm going to do is, oh wow. Uro does represent a path to victory, and it does represent some life gain. So if we go blue, green, yeah, I think I am going to do this. So they don't have any, they don't have an Eye of Ugin, I don't believe. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this out. They could potentially go get a Karakas. I would imagine they have a Karakas in their list. They don't have a Karakas in their list. This list is like the most unconventional 8-cast list I've ever seen, I think. Or, 12 post. All right, and I do want to play quickly, even though we're both playing at a very deliberate. Okay, this is perfect. All right, great. That's gone. Now, I think I do want to go ahead and just get that. I don't want to leave myself dead on board or anything. But green, black, Witherbloom here, and I think I'm just going to drain 2 life just to give myself a little bit more padding here. And I don't have a Wasteland currently in my graveyard. They may go ahead and just, this is a good time for them to Bajuka Bog if they have it, but they don't seem to have it. So I'm just going to grab this Wasteland here. I'm going to play it out. I'll pass. To combat. Pass to combat. And I will attack with Tamiyo here. Okay, we've got another clue. I'm going to pass. I'm not sure what in their deck they could be looking for. I think they're probably just waiting to draw another Uro. So I'll probably try to flip Tamiyo next turn. We'll see what they get here. Yeah, that's fine. So they've already burned through 1 planar Nexus. After I've seen what they've gotten, I'm probably just going to waste the Urza's Tower. So they're thinking of wasting me off of Uro, which I don't really even care about Uro. I think it's correct to go ahead and hit Urza's Tower here. Yeah, I'm going to hit the tower. This way they're going to have to use a lot of mana to go and get the second one. And since I have some life, I can actually take a hit if they decide to attack me here. If they think they're going to waste me out of this game, I don't think that that's likely. They've used one wasteland. This is their second. They are probably packing 4. Okay, wow, they just conceded. We did it. I did not think that it would be that easy, but I think they saw like that Psychic Frog. They couldn't profitably attack into it. They didn't even know that I had force to protect it. So yeah, let's go to round 3 or round 4. All right, we are back. And in round 4, we are up against Uranian. I have won the die roll. I'm going to quickly Google them to see whether there's any data about this person. This person who comes from Uranus, perhaps. I'm not sure what you would call somebody from Uranus. Looks like they are a Delver enthusiast. So let's assume that they're on Delver. Looks like a pretty stock list. Double Molten Collapse, which is good to note. No basics here. Very tight, typical Delver, 3-color mana base. Grafdigger's Cage. I definitely want to show them Uro if I can for Grafdigger's Cage. And double Pop. So, yeah, we're going to need to be very careful here. As always with... look at this art. This is crazy. The way that MTG is glitching. Okay, so I think what I probably open Trop with, and when you open without anything, then a lot of times they just assume you don't have another land, and they'll attempt to waste you. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Good luck. Have fun. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is after I have hopefully stifled their wasteland, I'm going to play out my Polluted Delta, and then I'll potentially have Bowmasters up if they open with a cantrip. But like longer term, the goal is to survive. They don't seem to be playing any Bowmasters in their 75 that I saw, so I think this Bowmasters is going to be quite good. They're not playing Stifle that I can tell. Yeah, no Bowmasters in the 75. Crazy that is where we are, that it makes sense to not play Bowmasters. Okay, I'll pass. All right. This is fine. I'm going to attempt to Bowmasters with Daze Protection next turn. You just have to be fearless against these decks. This Bowmasters should be very powerful if it resolves. Given a choice, I will definitely Daze the Underground Sea. Or, bounce the Underground Sea, just because it's the more important of the 2 lands. Do they have any other counterplay? They don't. They would have dazed, well, yeah, they would have dazed first had they had it. So this is a very strong exchange, and this is why it pays to be on the play against Delver. All right, I don't think they're going to attempt to waste me from behind. What they're probably going to try to do is tech up toward a Murktide, perhaps. So I do think it makes sense to have extra mana out here. I am going to attack. I'll show them the land they've already seen. I may get a chance to brainstorm this Undercity Sewers back at some point. Worst case scenario, I can always play it out. So I think it's fine to ponder here, and this looks pretty strong. So I think what I do is I don't really want this Delta, but I do want the Dismember and the Wasteland. Yeah, so I'll take the Wasteland now. I'll draw the Dismember, and then the following turn, I will have the ability to Undercity Sewers and put the card I don't want, which I already have forgotten what it was, because what was that other card? Was it also a land? I think it was a fetch land. All right. We're enjoying our Bowmaster's Dividend here. I'm going to stifle the first of these. Okay, they daze. I'm not going to pay it. That's fine. They're going to be able to have 2 mana here, and they will be able to Murktide. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's Delirious. All right. So I think my original play of playing Undercity Sewers here makes more sense. Just to put this extra land that we don't really want into our graveyard. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and dismember this, paying life. Not fun, but I do want to attack here. I am on the beatdown plan here. I'm just going to attack in. After resolution, I am going to ponder. There's no other good use for this mana, and I do want to set up my next few draws. I don't know what's on top of my deck. Double Fatal Push could be good. The fact that we have Brazen Borrower makes me much more comfortable with this. So I think what I'll do is I'll take one Fatal Push now, and then I can decide next turn whether I want the other one. That bolt is going to resolve, so they are freed from the vice of my Orcish Spellmasters. They are able to fire off their Brainstorm now. They're fetching now. Okay, so Wasteland is going to definitely take out the Underground Sea here, now that they have expended quite a bit of resources. They're down to one card. I'm feeling very good about this game. So I think it's okay to draw the second push now that I know that I'm going to be using this push. I'll go ahead and get rid of that now. We're going to push here. We're going to attack. And we're just slowly chipping away at their life total while they hopefully draw, you know, cards that we can directly interact with. They will be able to deploy Murktide twice at this point. They waste me off green. It's not that big of a deal. I'll float a blue, sure. Not that I would. Okay, and they're letting this burn off. That's fine. And they're done. Okay, so I'm not sure what they have in their hand. I think it's good to go ahead and play that out. We can get a Surveil land here. It's quite possible that they have a removal spell for my token, and maybe they're debating as to whether it's even worth using, but they might also have a black card, like a frog. That's fine. So if they're able to find a black source, they could unlock a frog, for example, but I do have frog covered in addition to having Murktide at least temporarily covered. I think I can race a Murktide because they're probably going to buff it quite a bit the first time, and then it'll be smaller the second time, and I can flash in a Brazen Borrower to also do some of that work. This I am totally okay with. I don't know what their last card could be. Oh, Bobble. Yeah, I'm going to let them go ahead and resolve this trigger, and I'm going to even let them bobble. They're bobbling me. That's fine. I'm going to fetch anyway. Okay. They have 0 cards in hand. What a perfect time to push their threat. Now I'm going to go fetch my Surveil land, get a little bit of selection here. That's not terrible because what we're trying to do is slow them down. So I will draw this. And this may invalidate some of the cards they could draw. All right. And we can always just hard cast Borrower if necessary to finish the job here. Okay, they got the land that they wanted. The last card could be a Daze. That might explain why they didn't cast it. I think it's smarter to just hold back on the Brazen Borrower. I just don't feel like it's right to attack in. Okay, so now, even if they remove this, I will. That's fine. I think we wait. Because if they do have Murktide, we're going to need to swing twice. It's a greedy play, but the longer this game goes on, the more favored we are. Let's just be patient. Let's keep our protection up. We could draw an Uro at any time. Daze. Potentially really good. I'm just going to pass. I've got so many different things covered. Okay, now they have more mana, and Daze does not cover as it did before. Okay, I think I am going to flash this in now. They're passing. Yeah, I'm going to go blue, blue. I'm just going to play this out. If this gets countered, that is okay. There's a little bit of lag. I'm not sure why. Again, I've got like half a gigabit internet. All right. So we'll see what they do here. If they Murktide, I am going to totally daze that. So totally. I'm going to daze basically any play they have here. I think it's okay just to get selection here. All right, we got one more turn. and I'm glad that I picked up the Undercity Sewers now based on what I just drew. I will play this out, see what we get. Wasteland is, yeah, I'm interested in keeping that. And then I'm going to just ponder now, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't have done it in that sequence. Okay, Orcish Bowmasters is essentially the kill. So Force can chill, and then we'll draw Bowmasters next turn. I don't think there's any sort of discard effect or anything, but yeah. So even if they have this Borrower covered somehow, we're going to be able to Bowmasters. All right, game over. So we're on the play, and even though we didn't draw our really powerful cards like Uro in the matchup, yeah. So cards that are coming in, this, and this. Cards that are coming out, I think Daze might be better than Force of Will. Even on the draw? No, that's not right. So I think we just take out these Dazes. Maybe we take out a Wasteland just because we're going to have Carpet. Wasteland, I don't know. Maybe we keep it in. I think Stifle is more of a defensive card here. Stifle is a way that we can get Uro to resolve, but we didn't actually cast Uro, so they may not realize we're on Uro. Yeah, so I think we take out 6 tempo cards and we put in 6 control cards. All right. I don't like Dismember a whole lot. Dismember might actually be worse than Stifle here. I might board out Dismember. This is a really serviceable hand. I think we go get the basic island and then we ponder turn 1. Yeah, and then maybe they keep a greedy hand in terms of mana count, and we can waste them. All right, they've got a turn 1 play here. So, yeah, pressure. Now, I don't think we play the Misty. I think we go ahead and ponder now. And if they daze this or something, that's totally fine. This is precisely what we wanted to see. So, I think we're going to have to fetch, but I really want both of these. So I might take an extra turn, depending on what happens, but I definitely want both of these pushes. So if this doesn't flip, I might take an extra turn and then draw the fatal push, the second fatal push before I go get black, because I do want that land as well. Okay, Wasteland is pretty much nightmare, but the Delver didn't flip. So I'm definitely going to wait and draw another land. And I think since I'm waiting, this might be crazy, but we waste, and then we have double push up, and we're going to have double fetch. Yeah, I think that's fine. They may brainstorm here just to sit. Oh, no? Okay. So they're blind flipping Delver here, and that could be a lot of damage. That could be not a lot of damage. We don't know. All right. Okay, they have the land. That sucks. All right. I think Daze very well could be in their hand. It might make sense to just wait if I'm only taking 1 damage. That is scary. I'm definitely not going to wait for that. I think what I do here... So here are the options. 1, we go get an island like a responsible person, knowing that they could definitely have a second... yeah, or we go get Underground Sea, and then we push. And then after pushing, if they daze, then yeah, we're going to take 6. But we definitely go after the Dragon Rage Chandler. It's so far from being Delirious, but it is an enabler. The question is, do we use the pushes or do we hold the Hydroblast? I think because Witherbloom Command is so good, it's worth taking the risk. So I'm going to go get an Underground Sea here. And I'm just going to attempt to, yeah, I'm just going to blast this. And I think they're probably going to daze or force. Wow, they let it go. Okay, that augurs very well for us. Now, they could just have a bunch of Wastelands in hand, and that would be pretty catastrophic. Oh, wow, we're getting super lucky. Let the record show that I acknowledge the amount of luck we are getting in this match, and that I'm not like nah, 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 you know. All right, Wasteland. Okay, so that makes sense. I kind of called it. I think it's okay. We have time to draw another land, but we are going to need to draw lands, and we can't really go get islands here, in my humble opinion. I think what we'll do is we'll wait until the end step, and then we will fetch. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had another Wasteland in hand here. Surely this is going to flip. This is like the least flippy Delver I've ever seen. I think it's like 4 turns. So once they don't play out Wasteland, that's when I'm going to go get the Black Source. Yep, Undercity Sewers coming in. I know it's crazy, but I really need land. It's such a good card in this matchup. Let's see if we can find a land. It's not nothing. I'm gonna play it out, and I'm just gonna do it. It's fine. You gonna bolt me? I dare you. I dare you to bolt me. I think now what we want to see in their draw step, we want to see what they draw before we push, before they can play land. But I am going to push this because my life total is getting low, and I have plenty of stuff to do. So now I'm going to push. I mean, this may seem like an incredible position in terms of just we got so much removal, but 1 Wasteland and we're in the Stone Ages. They've used 2 of their 4 Wastelands. They have 2 Wastelands left in their 46 cards. Wow, we won! They couldn't find a land, and they just didn't want to play it out. I think this is like the previous game. They just didn't want to play it out for some reason. I think if they play it out, like, who knows how soon we're going to even draw a card. I don't... Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. We would have had it covered. We were fine. Because we could eventually Psychic Frog and then, you know, like dump our entire hand even if we don't have green mana. So, yeah. We take those... We are back for round 4. We are on the play again, which we are grateful for. It's Blue Hen 28. Let's go here. Blue Hen 28. And they do have some finishes, and they are on Reanimator, it looks like. Okay, this is from a few months ago, but even then they were playing Rescam, so maybe they got bored of Rescam. That could happen. This is not the best anti-rescam hand, but I'm not going to pitch it because you generally don't want to mulligan against rescam, so I'm just going to keep. And it's worth noting that because I was away, we are already a few minutes into the match. So, yeah, I lost 2 minutes, 30 seconds on my clock, which, you know, very much could matter here. So I'm going to play this out as removal bait. In case they're not Rescaminator. Rescaminator famously doesn't play removal. It doesn't have to play removal when it just wins on turn 2, functionally, regardless of what you try to do. So, okay, there's the Polluted Delta. All right, the Underground Sea. If this Fatal Push, we're probably not up against Rescam, which is great news. All right, so I think I'm just going to replay that turn. I think it makes sense to have Misty out in case they try to get rid of our Tamiyo. Yeah, and then I'll see if they are stalled on lands before I attempt to start wastelanding them. But I can also brainstorm away the land if they just, like, you know, go land Troll of Khazad-dûm or something like that. All right, let's see what they put. If they put a land in the graveyard, I might punish that. Okay, they keep it. Right. And so it definitely would be greedy here to do, but I am a greedy bastard. I'm going to go and attempt to get my selection. So if they have a second Fatal Push, say Livy. I'm definitely keeping that because it's a black source. Play it out. I'm going to attack. All right, we got a clue. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff we can do here. We can crack a clue. We can brainstorm. I think we just chill. Do we? Maybe it's actually worth going ahead and brainstorming here just because we flipped Tamiyo. Unless they're, like, holding removal, which they could be. Okay, wow. This is pretty good spread. So I think what we do is we put these wastelands back. I mean, are probably going to be a part of the game. Maybe we put the frog back because we don't want them to take that out of our hand. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the frog back. I'm going to go ahead and flip Tamiyo here. Or plus her. And we're going to pass. If they have Bowmasters, that's fine. They are going to be able to get some Bowmasters equity here. That's fine. Hopefully they don't rescam here. Because our top cards are not cards that can necessarily beat Atraxa. Okay, let's think about this. Uro can beat Atraxa. So we know that one of our top cards is a... yeah, I think we have to let this resolve. Let's see what they get. We're learning more about their deck at the very least. Okay, trigger goes on the stack. All right, Wastelands are definitely out as a strategy, considering that they flipped an Underground Sea, an Undercity Sewer, a Troll. So they're going to probably have at least 2 more lands. Also, they have Entomb and Animate Dead. So, I mean, the game may just be over. They did get a Grief as well. If they Grief me, I'm just going to scoop. They've seen that I have green, but they don't know that I have Uro. Yeah, I don't think we have much recourse here. Okay. That's fine. I don't know why did they not take Grief? What did they take? Okay, that's fine. I can't do anything about that. Okay, so they took Animate Dead, Force of Will, Underground Sea Ponder, Psychic Frog. I can't stop this stuff. I'm just gonna concede. If I'd flipped Tamiyo like the turn before or 2 turns ago, but they failed to push that one. Yeah, I mean I can coulda, woulda, shoulda all I want, but I think I didn't play carefully enough. Even having the impression that they were likely on Rescam, I could have played differently. So cards that are coming out, I think are Witherbloom definitely comes out. It's just not a good card in the matchup. It doesn't hit very much. I'm going to presume that they're going to board in. I mean, this is like so old, but they have Orcish Bowmasters in the sideboard here. But this is like a more combo-y build. They might be on a more combo-y build, but they did put Archon and Cruelty in the yard instead of Gristlebrand. So I think we take these out. On the play, I kind of like taking forces out, and that may seem crazy, but that's what like a lot of players seem to be doing and having luck with. So I don't think any of these other cards make sense to remove. So I guess we are going to kind of be on a like mini Mana Denial plan with the Dazes. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And Daze can occasionally just steal games. Their mana count is so freaking low. The deck is just like a super efficient deck that shouldn't really be allowed to exist. I mean, I don't think they can do anything about Carpet. I think I keep this and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to play out Tamiyo and then I'll Carpet next turn with Daze protection. And then if Carpet goes through, I will have the ability to ponder. But I do think just getting Tamiyo active is the right call here, especially considering that I have a backup green source if they do open Wasteland. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I like going ahead and playing out the sea. I'm going to go ahead and play out the Carpet now. I am totally aware they can go fetch a swamp here, but I do want to have this for post-combat mana in case they do try to interact with Tamiyo somehow. Okay, it doesn't look like they're going to do anything to interact with Tamiyo. So this is where if they just go Entomb, Reanimate, like there's nothing we can do. That's just what we signed up for here. Okay, so they didn't go Entomb, Reanimate, but are they going to be able to rip a fatty? No. Okay, they did keep the card on top though. So I will definitely brainstorm to protect a Tamiyo here. I think that's kind of a crazy play. I'm going to float. Okay. I'm going to... If you want to kill my Tamiyo, you can kill my Tamiyo. I've already got a clue token to replace her. Grief's fine. They're probably going to take Borrower. Maybe Brainstorm. Brainstorm does flip Tamiyo. So far, the only reanimation target they have is that Grief. They may reanimate it. They may... okay. Grief's dead. Reanimate. Now they'll probably take Fatal Push. All right, Grief is in play. Untap. I'm going to draw for turn. Ponder is a good draw. I think I go ahead and use it. I'm going to go ahead and ponder before I attack. This gives me the option to instant speed, flip Tamiyo later in this turn. I mean, a second carpet isn't unwelcome. I like having the Dismember as a way to remove Grief if necessary. I probably should have stacked that slightly differently. I'm going to go ahead and play the carpet out though. Now I'm going to attack with Tamiyo. I think I do flip her because I have lots of ways of removing Grief next turn, and I do want to use this mana. Yes, I'll just add blue, and I'll add blue, and I will flip a clue, and we're going to go into Planeswalker land. And a lot of people might think, oh, that's kind of a bad play because you're just like putting... Tamiyo was creating tokens and you have plenty of mana to use the tokens. Maybe that was. I just wanted to mana efficiently use the carpet mana. But now, like, they're really in trouble if they want to play a second blue source. All right, they're fetching. They're probably just getting a swamp. Oh, wow. That's very brazen. Bowmasters is fine. I can dismember. Probably dismember Bowmaster. I'm pretty sure I have to dismember Bowmasters here. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and add it. Why not? So we're going to go black. Okay, and for this one, we'll add, yes, blue. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plus this. I'm going to go, I think I dismember here. And I'm going to pay the, I have so much mana. Wow, they're forcing that. Okay. I think, it's kind of weird, but I think I go ahead and borrow now with the mana that I have up. I'm just going to borrow Grief back to their hand. And so now they're going to be forced to pitch cast it because they're not going to have mana to actually cast it for a while. And these cannot hurt Tamiyo, so Tamiyo will continue to tick up unless they have a second Bowmasters, which would be catastrophic. They're brainstorming here. They're probably trying to find a black source so they can strip my final card, but I do have the clue. It's just that I need to get rid of Bowmasters before I can brainstorm. I might be willing to just sacrifice Tamiyo to get back a Fatal Push to kill the Bowmasters, depending on what I draw here. They're casting Grief, pitch casting. They pitched a Fatal Push to do that. They're taking my Brainstorm, which was dead. Right? There's no point in attacking me. That's fine. All right, we can play out the borrower here, regardless of what we draw. Okay. I'm going to add blue. And I'm going to add blue. Just making sure we have plenty of time to play the last two games here. Cast this. I am going to uptick. I'll go ahead and play Tamiyo with the other blue. All right, we've got a clock, and they are going to need something, probably something big to push through. Another Bowmasters is definitely strong here. Yep. If they attack in, I will block. I'm not afraid of them being able to do anything. They might try to just get a loyalty offer, which is totally reasonable to try, but like I don't think I have anything to fear. Okay, they're not going to even go for that loyalty. Okay, so see what we draw here. That's an insane draw. That's like by far the best draw we could have here. I'm going to go ahead and use the ability. Just add black here. And I think we add black as well, and then we just strip both of them. Okay, so I'll start with this Bowmaster. Now I'm going to return Fatal Push to my hand. I'm going to go ahead and push this. I will go ahead and use one of the mana to draw to correct this clue. I will play a land for the turn. I'm going to attack with Tamiyo. I will happily sacrifice this token to protect Tamiyo here. And I think probably makes sense to go ahead and... Oh, if I draw, though, it'll flip Tamiyo, so we don't want to do that. We're just going to wait. Yeah, because I already drew one. All right. I feel pretty strong, but they have lots of cards they could draw. Okay, wow. We got through that. And I think we got through it pretty gracefully. Tamiyo is a strong Magic the Gathering card. All right. So on the draw, I do think that Force of Will is warranted here. And I will be taking out my Dazes. I'll probably just bring this in too. And I think we take out the remaining Stifles. We take out... Do we want to keep a Daze in? I don't think so. I think Stifle is better just because it can randomly stop certain things. Like it can stop reanimation with Animate Dead. That's about it. It can potentially stuff a Bowmaster trigger, which I may have done earlier in this league. All right, we are back for the final game of the league. We have a banger. And, yeah, we're keeping this. There's like no world in which I wouldn't keep this against Rescam. We just have to hope that they don't have some insane explosive start. So our line probably involves Island into Psychic Frog. They seem to have a slower start here, which is great. It's not a grief reanimate grief. And indeed, we're not getting griefed at all, which is great. That's an insane card. The question is, do we want to play it, though? I think it makes sense for us to go for it, probably. We'll see what they do here. Again, powerful sideboards are no match against, grief, making us discard those powerful sideboard cards. They're not going to help us win when they're in our graveyard, which is the main argument against grief, is just that it leads to those kind of game states. I think it's so powerful that I don't want to risk. Now that we have a force, though, I would definitely force to protect Ground Seal, and they could very much just go for it next turn. I'd much rather have a force fight over Ground Seal than a force fight over Entomb or Reanimate. All right. Here goes nothing. So if they have double Daze or if they have Daze Force, we're done. But if they don't, we probably will win. Oh, we're in. We're so in. And I think aside from borrowing this back to our hand, I can't think of what could cause them to be able to claw back their combo plan. So they have to kind of beat us fair, and we're holding a grip of 3 Psychic Frogs. All right, Surveil. They have 8 dead cards in their deck now, probably. Somewhere between 4 and 8. I don't think they ever board out the 4 Reanimates, but they do often. Okay, yes, please. By all means. I have all the time in the world. That's a great My Bloody Valentine song, by the way. All right. I'm going to go ahead and drop this Delta, and I'm going to ponder. And then if they attempt to Orcish Bowmasters, I will... Okay, wow. They are just giving us the goods today. My goodness. Okay, so Bowmasters can't be reanimated by them, so we don't really have to worry about it. I think what we do is Brainstorm is not necessarily, it's redundant. So I'll draw the Bowmasters next turn. I'll take the Wasteland. We have got a stacked grip. This is fine. Just get dead cards out of your deck. I will force a Brazen Borrower so hard, and I think the Brazen Borrower is the only thing that they have. They're going to need to do it. That's fine. So I imagine they have a very removal heavy hand. So I'm just going to play out this Wasteland. I'm not going to bother Wastelanding them. It's just an extra land to help protect against days this game. So I'll play this out. We know we have a Brainstorm on top, which is quite a good card. I think it's worth going ahead and getting the Underground Sea, though, and attempting to play out Psychic Frog. Now, if we make a mistake here, what's the worst that can happen? And I think we test the water. I mean, we actually probably could just get Bayou here. That's one of the reasons we play both cards. We play Bayou is so you can get it in precisely these island situations. All right, Psychic Frog's in. If they push it, I'm going to just let them do that. That's fine. It's a 1-for-1. They're up to 4 land. Grief is definitely something that could happen here. But if they grief, okay, so it's not going to be grief. Now it might make sense to start wastelanding them just to keep them off hard cast grief, because grief is like really, into their graveyard. Okay, so they surveilled it away, so they may not even be trying to go up on land. We don't have a lot of things we can do, though. Okay, so we don't know what we're drawing here, but it is a good card. I think we just... I kind of like keeping Bowmasters up. I'm just going to go for this. I think we just repeat the previous turn. My fear is that they take... They do have Atraxa in the graveyard, so if they get rid of this Ground Seal, we're screwed. But I do feel like being proactive and playing a Psychic Frog, that's how we draw into more counter magic. That's how we stop their plan. Okay, wow, they don't have grief, so I'm very glad that I didn't waste them. I'm just going to hold, and if they get grief, they're going to get value out of it. Tamiyo is a great draw, but the best draw right now would be land. So I'm going to start by just attacking. If they Bowmasters, I'll Bowmaster the Bowmaster. They are Bowmastering here. Oh, they're fatal pushing. That's fine. I think at this point it makes sense to ponder to try to find a land, because land is the thing that's holding me back. There's a lot of good stuff here. There is not a land. I'm going to shuffle. I mean, it's crazy to shuffle that, but yeah. Oh, and we're rewarded, though. So we can potentially fetch and still have mana up if we cast Tamiyo this turn. I think that's worth it. I'm going to go get a second blue-black source. So we have Bowmaster. We don't have Daze Protected Bowmaster, but we do want to keep some sort of threat on the table here. Because if they are given enough time to sculpt, they will sculpt into Force Blue card plus Brazen Borrower plus Reanimate spell. Getting another turn. That makes things much better. I'm just going to do that. Okay. So, Brainstorm would, on my turn, I think Brainstorm, the Bowmaster triggers do kill her. So if I want to flip her, I definitely want to try to flip her with Brainstorm on my turn, or on their turn, not mine. The other thing we could do is we could go ahead and play out the Psychic Frog and just have, but then we lose double force. And I'm just going to play super duper conservatively here. I mean, you cannot play too conservatively against Rescam. We've got 9 minutes on our clock. This game is ours to lose. I am going to go ahead and crack here. All right, a land. I'm happy to see it. I would love to see a second Ground Seal. Yeah, I'm going to play this first. Trigger. A third Ground Seal. It sounds weird, but I'm going to keep that because you just can't have too many of these. Ground Seal. If I force here, they can't daze. I'm worried that the reason they're doing this is they may have some answer. I am going to be very, very super duper conservative, and I am going to go ahead and force here. All right, we draw. I'm going to attack. At this point, I could flip Tamiyo, but I think it makes sense to just hold. And my reasoning is, how do we lose this game? I mean, they'd have to have 2 borrowers in their 5-card hand to be able to get something through. But it's still, if they get it through, I'm just going to feel incredibly embarrassed if I lose. So maybe I am playing too conservatively here. All right, it's end step. I don't think they can do anything here. I'm going to go ahead and use this. Draw a card. All right, it's land. That's great. All right, carpet is amazing here. Carpet like basically lets us do everything we want. In fact, if with carpet out, I think it's okay to go ahead and just I'll add a bunch of green, and then I'll probably, let's go ahead and attack. So we're going to get 4 mana here. We can cast yet another ground seal. Yes, I'll use the mana, and I went green. Psychic Frog. Or ground seal. Okay. I think we can go ahead and just crack the clue and flip Tamiyo here. I'm going to plus her. Petty Theft on Tamiyo is A-okay. So the trigger still goes on the stack, which probably won't matter. And then I'm just going to play out another Tamiyo, and I'll pass. They're forcing my Tamiyo. That's great. And you're not going to like this. I think that there's a high likelihood that they concede soon. I certainly would be tempted to concede in that situation. That's fine. We have Bowmasters. We can ping that down next turn. I'm fine with taking 2 damage. Okay, they're keeping it up, which is fine. So I'm going to untap. I'm going to draw. I think I can just add black here. Yes, black. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Ping the borrower. And then I think I can use one of the black to drop a Psychic Frog. The other black I'm not going to use. I'm just going to hold this stuff up. I'll create my token. I don't even think I need to flip her. I can play this land out just as a surveil trigger. I am going to... okay, so here in their upkeep step, I am going to go ahead and waste one of their lands just to keep them off hardcast troll. I don't think it's a big deal, but yeah. Go ahead and remove that stop there. I forgot I put it there. 6 minutes left. You know what? I am going to pile on here just to end this game. Sure. Okay, and they conceded. So we just took them apart. We just completely dominated Rescam, and that's what Rescam deserves, frankly. But we did lose the first round to Rescam. So I would say, like, I'm very happy with how those games went. I'm very happy with the sideboard. I love... let me pull the deck back up real quick. That was a 4-1. Again, the only losses, we lost, I think, 3 games total that entire match. All 3 to Rescam. Did we lose 4 games? It might have been 4. I don't want to overstate my accomplishments here. But let's take a look here at the deck. And again, I think that this is the best deck other than Rescam right now. Eldrazi might be better. I don't know how to evaluate Eldrazi. I just don't play those types of decks. So I have no idea. And I frankly, I just don't want to play it. Like, it's just not my style. I don't like stompy decks. I tried playing stompy decks. I just couldn't get into it. Consigned to Memory seemed pretty good the one time we cast it. I think it stopped a Kozilek's command. Definitely had plenty of stuff to board out against 12 posts. So boarding out Fatal Pushes, boarding in Consigned to Memory, very good substitution. Carpet was insane. And I can see why Honorog, OnZD, MTG plays all 4. We always had stuff to do with the mana, right? Like whether that's just casting a Brazen Borrower out of exile, like from its adventure, or whether that means, bringing Uro back several times in a row during that really long game against Death Shadow, for example. I think that Ground Seal continues to be the best Rescam tech. And I would encourage you, if you're playing a deck that has green in it, to put Ground Seal in there, unless it, desynergizes with your own deck. The card is just insane. Like, they bounce it and you get to recast it and you get the draw trigger again, and it stops them from reanimating from their... Here, let me make it bigger. It stops them from reanimating from your graveyard or theirs. It protects your Uro from their surgicals. It just does so many things. I love this card. This card is one of my favorite cards. And I need to get a couple more old border. I've got like 2 of these. I need to upgrade these to old border if they're not too expensive. But of course, if I upgrade them to old border, maybe we'll do this sort of stuff in MTGO. I don't know why. I'm actually tempted to like de-old border my card so I don't have to deal with this glitch. But that I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, Bowmasters looks super gnarly with the border all screwed up. I hope you enjoyed that thorough disassembly of Delver and Rescam, and that I kind of almost stole that shadow match just because I was so low on time and they didn't have land. I loved that match the most. I think that was by far the most fun. I love playing against fair decks. I don't like playing against combo decks, and those were some great games of fair Magic the Gathering. Just, tempo on tempo, really fun. And the Delver matches were good too. So I hope you enjoyed this league. I am back in the United States, and I am going to be recording a ton of these, hopefully. There's no reason why I couldn't just sit down and record like a league every day or two with this deck. And I might make some slight tweaks. I'd love your questions in the comments. If you've made it this far, please give it a like. Please follow this channel or subscribe to the channel. I'm also on Twitter. It's just the same username, BExcellent80s there. And I sometimes share screenshots and things like that. It's all 100% MTG. You're never going to see me talk about politics or anything there. And then I just really, really love Tamiyo. My goodness, she was an all-star. This card is just bonkers, in my opinion. Like, she is by far the most powerful one-mana planeswalker ever, unless you can consider Deathray Shaman a planeswalker. And the fact that she generates value throughout the game, and it's just one mana. Like, any removal they use on her is going to be, on tempo. There's no free removal. I guess there's like some free removal, like that doesn't get played, like Snuff Out. But like, they're almost always going to be answering your 1 mana turn 1 play with a 1 mana turn 1 play of your own. And we didn't get to see this during this league, but it happens all the time where they go after my Tamiyo with like a plow or a push or something like that, and I'm able to brainstorm and save her. Let's look at this funky brainstorm here. Yeah. Shout out to Christopher Rush. Rest in peace. So I will end there, but I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope if you're a control mage and you're looking for the right deck to pick up, I really tried to get into Jeskai builds. I just don't think they're nearly as powerful as this. I think the benefit of this deck is it's very proactive, and it's always doing something. And like, you saw me playing extremely carefully against Rescam, but I could have just dumped my hand in the Frog and been like, let's go, and just started bashing. And I do that whenever I play against like, Eldrazi or Moonstompy or something. Like, you just dump your entire hand in the Frog. So it has that dynamic range of being able to like go slowly and just accrue resources, or put the pedal to the metal. And the game, they conceded before it got to that, but there was definitely going to be a period where I could have just ended the game. Like, they get to 8 life and I've got like 8 cards in hand, and I could just, relatively safely attack with Frog and discard everything in my hand but like a Force of Will and a blue card to it, and just deal the fatal damage. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.